So when we left off yesterday, Bat was finishing up his day at school and he had to do a collaborative project, remember, and he did not do so well with the other kids. But then his dad picked him up and they got his sister and they went to that coffee shop. And remember, Bat spilled his hot chocolate on himself and was upset about that. And then when they made it back to the apartment, he was not impressed by the smells in his dad's apartment. Because he does not like chili, but Dad was like, you're going to try it anyways. Okay, so he thought this is going to be a really long weekend. Chapter 12. Finally. On Monday afternoon, after Miss Kiko rang the bell, Bat walked outside as fast as he could without running. Running was not allowed in the school hallway. Bat couldn't wait to go home to his very own room. He couldn't wait to see the baby kit again. He had called Mom every day to ask about the kit, and she had called him each night to tell him a story before he went to sleep. But now finally he would get to see the kit and smell its fur and feed it with a dropper, and maybe Mom would even let him name the kit. He had thought all weekend about a good name, and he thought he finally had the perfect one. He couldn't wait to tell Mom, but Mom's burgundy station wagon wasn't in the line of waiting cars. Israel's mom was there in her tall blue van, and Jenny Pearson's grandmother was there in her little green bug. One by one, Bat watched his classmates climb into cars. Blue cars, white cars, black cars, clean cars, and dirty cars. No Mom car. Suddenly, Bat felt a hand on his shoulder. It was a man's hand with 3 silver rings, Mr. Grayson's hand. "Your Mom must be running late, huh, Bat?" asked Mr. Grayson. Up close like this, Bat noticed a line of hard, short little hairs just sprouting above his teacher's upper lip. Was Mr. Grayson trying to grow a mustache? "Mr. Grayson," Bat said, "did you know that gorillas can catch human colds and other illnesses?" "Is that so?" said Mr. Grayson. "It is," said Bat. Sometimes when Bat was nervous about something, like right now, when he was nervous about where his mother was and why she was late, he thought about interesting animal facts. "Well, did you know," said Mr. Grayson, "that if you lift a kangaroo's tail off the ground, it can't hop?" "Yes," said Bat. "Doesn't everyone know that?" Mr. Grayson laughed. The stubby little hairs above his lip bobbed up and down. "Maybe so," he said. Bat considered whether he could tell Mr. Grayson that his mustache looked a lot like a caterpillar. But just then Mom pulled up in her burgundy wagon. She waved and honked her usual 3 friendly honks. "There she is," said Mr. Grayson. "I know," said Bat. "I can see her." Mr. Grayson sighed and rubbed his finger along his upper lip. "Okay, Bat," he said. "Have a good afternoon." He waved at Bat's mom before walking away across the parking lot to his own car. It was a little orange coupe, usually dusty, but clean today because of the rain over the weekend. Bat opened the back door of the station wagon and climbed in, slipping out of his backpack before he shut the door. "Hello, Bat," said Mom. "Hello," said Bat. He buckled his seatbelt. "You're late." "I know," Mom said. "I'm sorry." She turned around from the front seat to smile at him. "I miss you," she said. Then she turned back around and started driving toward home. "I missed you too," Bat said. "Dad made chili and wouldn't let me watch the Animal Channel because there was a basketball game, and Janie was busy all weekend practicing that song for her stupid play." Janie loved to sing and dance and act, and she was getting ready to audition for the role of Alice in Wonderland, her school's spring play. "Is she getting good at the audition song?" Mom asked. "I don't know," Bat said. "How is the baby Kit? Is he at home?" "Yes," said Mom. "I set up an enclosure for him in the living room." "Like baby cake's enclosure?" "Not that big," Mom said. As they turned the corner onto their street, Plum Lane, Bat saw Janie up ahead on the sidewalk. He could tell it was her by the way her dark brown ponytail swung side to side. Her hair was thick and straight like a horse's tail. which was why Bat liked it, even though he would never tell Janey. Chapter 13. What's in a Name? The enclosure was nothing like Baby Cake's enclosure. It was just a dog kennel, a smallish one, blue plastic with a handle on top, and a black grate door that locked. But inside, Mom had made a nice nest out of old ripped-up t-shirts. "Did you use any of mine?" Bat asked. "I did," Mom said. "I hope that's okay." "It's better than okay," Bat answered. "If the t-shirts still have my scent, then maybe the kit will bond with me." "I don't think we could get your scent out of your t-shirts if we tried, Bat," said Janey. "That's teasing," said Bat, but he was peering into the enclosure and didn't feel very upset. "Did you use any of mine, Mom?" Janey asked. "No," Mom said. "Don't worry." "I don't see him," Bat said. "I don't see him anywhere." "He's definitely in there, Bat," Mom said. "The door was latched and everything, and he's still too little to walk, anyway. His eyes aren't even open yet." Bat unlatched the door and stuck his hand inside. Yes, there was the kit, tiny and warm, wrapped in a fold of fabric. "He's safe," Bat said. "Okay, Bat," Mom said. "Latch up the cage and go wash your hands. Let's have a snack." At the table, Janey was smearing peanut butter on her crackers. She'd gotten out a second butter knife for Bat. Bat loved peanut butter, but he could never pack peanut butter sandwiches for school lunches because Lynn was allergic to peanuts. The entire Saw Wet School was a nut-free zone. Janey passed the roll of crackers to Bat. Mom had heated water in the kettle and poured out 3 cups of tea. Tea and crackers and peanut butter. Wonderful. "I wonder if Stripey will like peanut butter," he said, trying to be casual about the name. "You know, when he's all grown up." "Stripey?" said Janey. "Is that what you're calling the skunk?" "It's a good name," Bat said. "It's a really good name. Skunks have stripes." "I'm not sure it's a good idea to be naming the skunk," Mom said. She looked concerned with little wavy wrinkles across her squished-up forehead. "If you name him, it will be too easy to get attached, and remember, he's only staying with us for a few more weeks." "Besides," said Janey, "who says you get to name him? I'll bet I could come up with a name better than Stripey." "No, you couldn't," Bat said, stabbing the knife into the peanut butter jar. "Stripey is the best name for a skunk." "You always want to give things dumb, obvious names," Janey said. Bat felt sharp, hot tears in his eyes. "Do not," he whispered. "When you were 4, you named your teddy bear Barry, and last year, when the stray cat kept coming into our yard, you called her Patches." "She was a calico," Bat said. "Calicos look like they are covered in patches." "Janey," said Mom, "be nice." "Aw, Bat doesn't mind, do you, Bat?" asked Janey. Of course Bat minded, but he didn't want Janey to know how much she had hurt his feelings. "Well, what would you name the kit?" he asked. "I don't know. Give me a minute to think about it." Janey munched her crackers, and Mom sipped her tea, but Bat just waited to hear what Janey would come up with. He knew it wouldn't be as good as Stripey, and he couldn't wait to tell her so. "I've got it," Janey said after a minute. "Mom, he was born last Thursday, right?" "Mm-hmm," Mom said. "And we want him to be big and strong. We're learning about mythology in school. I think we should name the skunk after the biggest, strongest Nordic god. We should call him Thor." "Thor?" asked Mom. "The thunder god," Janey said. "It's perfect. See, because they used to celebrate Thor's Day, and now we call that Thursday, and that's when the skunk was born." "Thor," Bat whispered. Sometimes Janey was annoying. Sometimes she was a mean tease. But sometimes Bat thought she was brilliant. Chapter 14. Sleeping Arrangements. "I want to sleep on the couch next to Thor." "No, Bat, you need to sleep in your own bed," said Mom. "Then I want Thor to sleep in bed with me." "You can't sleep with the skunk, Bat. What if you rolled over in the night and crushed him?" I would never do that, Bat said. He never would. Bat, honey, the skunk. Thor, interrupted Bat. His name is Thor. Mom rubbed her forehead. Fine, she said. Thor. Thor can't sleep in your bed. Thor is a wild animal. Wild animals don't sleep in beds. But in the wild, Thor wouldn't sleep alone, Bat argued. He would sleep in a pile with all his brothers and sisters all cuddled up. I'm glad people don't sleep like skunks, Janey said. Her hair was damp from the shower, and she was wearing her favorite pajamas, the ones with all the unicorns. Each unicorn was doing something different. One rocked out with a guitar, another was reading a book, another wore a chef's hat and was flipping eggs in a pan. The only thing they had in common was that they were all unicorns. Janey, did you know that a herd of unicorns is called a blessing? Bat asked. Yes, Bat, of course I know that. Every time I wear these pajamas, you tell me that. I didn't know if you remembered, Bat said. She is in her unicorn pajamas. You're not the only one who remembers things, Bat, said Janey, and then she stomped off to her room. Bat turned back to Mom. Please, he begged. No, said Mom in her firm voice. But Bat knew Mom's firm voice. Sometimes, if he pushed hard enough, he could change it into her soft voice, the one that let him have his way. I could be the one to feed him, and you could sleep all night, Bat said. I know how to do it. Who do you think took care of you when you were a baby and had to eat every 2 hours, Bat? Mom asked. I took care of you and Janey. I can take care of one little skunk. If you let me help, Bat said, bargaining now, I'll promise to scrape all the extra food off my plate from now on and put it in the dishwasher after dinner. Mom smiled. I thought it was too gross to look at leftover food stuck to a plate. It is too gross, Bat said, but I'll do it anyway, even if it made me gag. Even if it made him gag, even if it made him throw up. Besides, Bat said, I helped Thor go to the bathroom after he finished eating. If I can do that, I can do other gross things. Mom had taught Bat that baby skunks don't know how to go to the bathroom on their own when they are little babies. And if they don't pee or poop, they can die. In nature, their mother would help them learn. But since Thor was an orphan, every time he drank his formula, someone had to hold him up and rub his bottom with a wet cotton swab until he pooped and peed. At school, Bat had been helping to clean up baby Cake's enclosure for a while now, and poop and pee were just part of having an animal. I'll tell you what, little Bat, Mom said, and her voice was softer now. Thor has to sleep in his enclosure, and I'm going to take care of him during the night. But you can be in charge of his daytime feedings when we are home. And tomorrow after school, instead of staying home with Janey, how about you come by the clinic? I'm going to weigh and measure Thor to make sure he's getting enough to eat, and you can help. Okay, said Bat, for now. But when Thor gets big enough that I couldn't squish him in bed, let's revisit this conversation. That was something Mom said when she wanted Bat to know that they weren't done talking about something, and Bat wanted Mom to know that he wasn't giving up on sleeping with Thor. Mom laughed. You drive a hard bargain, she said, and don't think I'm going to forget about the dishes. And that is where we will leave off today.